Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce the Water Garden Wizard, Guru of Goldfish, King of Koi, Lord of Lilies, Plumbing Pro, Maven of Mud, Algicide Lace, Connoisseur of Clarity, Aquatic Aficionado, the one and only Prince of Ponds.
Hello, this is Ken Jones. Welcome to our podcast radio show number 4, what I like to call our Pondcast, a production of the new Ornamental Water Feature Academy. I am the Prince of Ponds, and I'm thrilled to be able to bring to you this show. To have fun while answering your most pressing questions. Send them to me by email at ken@princeofponds.com. I'll answer back by email and may use your question on the show. Today, I'm so excited about this show. I usually try to answer questions, but today I'm going to pose a few. Today's format is going to be different. I'm going to be a bit more personal. I have news. I have announcements. I have our first sponsor. All for your consideration and enjoyment. First, I recently got my first report on the stats for this podcast. Wow! I heard from the director and founder of Pet Life Radio, Mark Winter, that the Prince of Ponds podcast has had 13,174 downloads in its first 7 weeks on the network. I am thrilled. Now, I would have been pleasantly surprised to hear that we had 1,300 downloads in our first weeks. After all, no advertising has yet been done about the show, and so far we only have 3 episodes. I am just starting here. But to have 10 times that many? Wow! Now, that's not all. That number reflects the Pet Life Radio network only. I know that in the same period of time, a few hundred listens have occurred directly at my website. I also have the show listed on iTunes, but have not yet set things up so that I can find out how many downloads are occurring from my iTunes account. So that number is larger. I think that for every podcaster in the beginning, you feel like you're speaking to no one. You record a show, then there is silence. The only applause is the clip from your library that you add in editing. The first time you learn that someone is listening to your podcast, you suddenly feel a greater responsibility. You feel honored that strangers are taking the time to seek out your show and spend time listening to it. Your creative juices are given a stir. Your commitment is given a boost. That's how I feel. As a new media producer, I am an avid podcast listener. I continue to learn from the experience of others, and so I listen to the podcasting masters, some of the ones that have been doing it for the longest, and coach others. There's a variety of styles among podcasters. Some are more professional and informational. Others are more personal. I have heard podcasts from podcast greats that contained no information and were all story. These stories are full of personal experience, feelings, and opinions. Sometimes they are idle chit-chat. Sometimes they are meant to be inspirational. Personal content does have the effect of getting your listeners to feel that they know you as an individual. It is very useful for building a community of fans out of your listeners. So it makes you sound more approachable, so that you as a podcaster will receive more contacts and inquiries from your listeners. However, I found that I prefer informational podcasts with a minimum of personal story. Have you ever found yourself saying, when you're listening to one of these podcasts, saying to yourself something like, well, that's nice, sweet, or wonderful for you, Mr. Podcaster, but can we just get on with providing me with some useful information? I have felt that way. So it is my intention to provide podcasts packed with helpful information. I also want to build a community. I want to meet my listeners and share experiences with them. I want to see my listeners reach out to each other and share not only their technology, but their joys about water features. That's the kind of community I want to be a part of. If that appeals to you, then you are in the right place. Together, we are going to create such a community on the internet at the Ornamental Water Feature Academy and beyond. Please tell me how you think I am doing. Do you feel the need for more information? Do you want a more personal approach? Are my personal stories and feelings useful to you? I will continue to wrestle with striking a balance between providing useful information and sharing parts of myself with you. Because in the end, I want us to be friends who can learn from each other. To this effort, I am announcing a new podcast that will be of interest to you and to anyone interested in pets. According to statistics, over 40% of you have pets, with even more folks who want one. My new podcast is called Pet Tech. It is the first podcast to explore the growing use of technology for making pet products better, safer, and more fun. Besides the discussion of pet products for dogs, cats, and birds, Pet Tech will be including many aquarium and pond products as well. Tell your friends to look for it on the Pet Life Radio Network. That's at PetLifeRadio.com. And on iTunes in February. I think you will like it. Another announcement I have is that, I want to encourage you to check out another project I am producing called I Love My Pets. It is a music video production to encourage responsible and loving pet care. The completed music video will be distributed nationally and appear on YouTube. I Love My Pets is also a competition whereby anyone of any age can win an appearance with their pet in the video. You needn't be unusual or have a special talent. It's all about love. We are inviting businesses to sponsor the project. Find out more at calaveras.gold.tv. Now that's Calaveras, Spanish, Calaveras, gold as in the mineral, GOLD.TV as in television, /I_love_my_pets.html. Did I say that right? HTML, yes. That link will be in the show notes for this episode at princeofponds.com. On today's podcast, you will hear from a new sponsor of our show, Audible.com. When you sign up for a free trial subscription with Audible.com through our website, you will receive a free digital audiobook of your choice, and Prince of Ponds will receive a bit of financial support. Thank you, and thank you, Audible. I want to invite you to visit our new Facebook page, Prince of Ponds. Our Facebook page is where you can receive current news about the show and leave your comments and suggestions. Consider this the beginning of my campaign to every listener to like us. That's press the like button on the Facebook page. And your personal invitation to join us on Facebook. Yours truly has appeared as a guest on 2 other shores. I wish. That means I'd be traveling. No traveling lately. But I have recently been on 2 other shows. You are going to want to give them a listen. First, in December, author and podcaster Bob Tart asked me to join him on his show called What Were You Thinking? I talked about meeting Apple's Steve Jobs family in the mid-90s, the Tropical Rainforest Museum I founded, and, of course, Prince of Ponds. You can hear it at PetLifeRadio.com/thinking.html. Bob Tart wrote Enslaved by Ducks and Foul Weather, and a soon-to-be-released Kitty Cornered. His show features amusing tales of living with numerous farm animals and exotic pets. Upon hearing of my rainforest museum and my management of approximately 1,000 animals, mostly terrarium species, and how as a function of the museum I performed a jungle party for the Jobs family, Bob wanted to hear more. We had a wonderful interview, and I got to introduce his audience to my new Prince of Ponds podcast on the Pet Life Radio Network. Thanks, Bob. In January, just last week, I appeared as a featured guest on episode 31 of the Aquariumania show. The host of Aquariumania is Dr. Roy Yanong, a research aquaculture, you can say it either way, I think. He's a research aquaculture veterinarian at the University of Florida and the Florida Aquarium. Pond construction, water clarity and quality, filtration, and keeping water lilies, goldfish, and koi were all discussed. Dr. Roy was an excellent interviewer, and he asked many good questions. I had a thoroughly good time co-producing what I believe will be a particularly helpful show to listeners. The podcast is available at PetLifeRadio.com/Aquariumania. That's AQUARIUM as in aquarium, mania, ANIA.html. You'll see it there in the directory of the Pet Life Radio homepage. Links will be available for your convenience also on our show notes. You can read about both shows at my blog on the princeofponds.com website. So, wow! That's a lot going on since the last show. New resources and several brand new programs are now available for your pleasure. Now, our featured topic. In speaking of living ponds, like we did in the last episode, we're usually speaking of water gardens. Ponds where decorative fish such as pond comets or koi are kept with ornamental pond plants in a pond usually enhanced with with attractive rockwork around the perimeter, and probably a waterfall or two. A water garden denotes a holistic approach that looks natural in a landscape, and it is in fact a natural community of organisms. It is a whole greater than the sum of its parts, and it is most pleasing to the senses. It is at once both stunning and relaxing. A water garden nearly always becomes the focal point of a landscape. There are other types of living ponds to consider. They are specialty ponds. They may have a water garden sensibility, more or less, determined by the designs of the pond owner. They are interesting and fun. Upon listening to the following ideas and stories of actual ponds I've built, you may wish to consider what kind of specialty pond you might like to have. A generic water garden is never ordinary, but you may feel the need to express your own personality in your own pond designs. I want to speak about hobby ponds, game fish ponds, fire ponds, and swimming ponds. Hobby ponds can be the most specialized of specialty ponds. How about a pond for your pet turtles? I was once presented 2 criteria for creating a water feature for a customer. First, it must fit in a small opening between the confluence of 2 wooden decks in the backyard, and it must serve the needs of their 2 fully grown pet turtles. These turtles have been raised by the family indoors in an aquarium, and it was time that they had a proper home in the wilds of their backyard. This 6-foot by 6-foot confined space was perfect for this use, as it provided an enclosed area of safety for the turtles while being appreciated by family members seated on the deck. This pond was specialized in that it was not intended to include fish or plants. A ramp was built into the wall of the pond for sunning, for the turtles to sun themselves, and it was an easy exit from the water. The pond also included a beach of soil right next to it for idle digging. The decorative mortar colored and textured to simulate sandy soil, and a decorative rock work were found in the little waterfall included in the pond to dress it up, and of course provide those pleasing waterfall sound effects. Underwater lighting provided fun evening viewing of the swimming turtles on summer nights. To keep the pond clean and the water clear, the pond did have in the wall circulation jets and an outside canister filter system. In the end, an awkward and small location that would have looked out of place between 2 decks for most decorative water features became a specialized and novel attraction, a perfect home for 2 lucky turtles and their happy family of humans. Another hobby pond I once saw presented a surprise almost beyond belief. In fact, an elderly woman called me on the phone one day claiming to have a bullfrog pond full of tame bullfrogs in the middle of a Sunnyvale neighborhood. Sensing an opportunity for something unusual, I offered to drive out to her suburban home for a free consultation. Indeed, in the relatively modest backyard was a pond maybe 6 feet by 12 feet, ringed with dozens of fully grown bullfrogs. There were no fish or plants, nor desire by her to have them. These frogs were her pets. As I approached, they did not move. They were very tame. I almost had to reach out and touch one to get it to jump in the pond. The whole scene looked like an amphibian convention. I answered her questions about filtration improvements and took my leave. As I left, I wondered about what her next-door neighbors would have to say about the sound effects of all those bullfrogs croaking during mating season. As amazing as her pond was, I am glad I didn't live next door to her. Now, I consulted a new client once who intended to create a saltwater pond. Sharks, anyone? While a saltwater pond is certainly a doable thing, it offers extra challenges that all but the most committed will shy away from. A lot of creatures call ponds their homes. A visit to the local zoo will provide ideas. How about alligators? Or penguins? Perhaps you should get your zoo license first. Well, right after this break, we will entertain the possibilities for a game fish pond, a fire pond, or a swimming pond. Welcome to Pet Tech, the podcast show about new technologies to help us care for our pets. I am your host, Ken Jones. Welcome to the show that helps you apply today's technology to make the care of your pets easier, safer, and more fun. I am the Pet Tech Guy, and this is the program where we talk about electronic tracking devices, high-tech nutrition, aquarium gear, filter systems, heating, lighting, computer controls, and much, much more. The new Pet Tech Show is available as a free podcast from PetLifeRadio.com, beginning in February of 2012. It is created as one of the new media production services of Ken Jones. Sponsorships are available. Enjoy Pet Tech. I want to speak a moment with you about one of our affiliates and supporter of this show, Audible Books. If you are listening to Prince of Ponds on a smartphone, iPad, iPod, or even a computer, then you've discovered the rich resource that is the podcast. There's another wonderful resource available to you thanks to this digital technology. If you are not partaking in it, you are truly missing out. That is digital audio books. Now, you can listen to your favorite books anytime, at home, in the car, or when exercising. It's a great way to get caught up on your reading without having to take the time to actually sit and read. Audible has a huge collection of over 100,000 of the latest books and the classics for you to enjoy. For listeners of the Prince of Pond podcast, Audible is offering a free audio book download with a 14-day free trial to give you a chance to check out their service. I personally recommend the new book Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson. You know, I've been a lifelong user of Apple computers, and I spent an afternoon with Steve and his family at their home. You will hear all about it in an upcoming episode of Prince of Ponds, and you can learn all about the incredible life of Steve Jobs in Isaacson's new audiobook. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/Prince of Ponds. Again, that's audibletrial, audibletrial.com/Prince of Ponds for your free audiobook.
Welcome back to the Prince of Ponds.
Welcome back to Prince of Ponds. We're talking about specialty ponds. What about game fish ponds? If you want to keep edible fish in your pond, what do you need to think about? I've built decorative ponds intended for game fish. How are they different? What fish can you keep? Game fish can include bluegill, bass, trout, catfish, and even sturgeon. Game fish ponds need to be larger and deeper than conventional decorative fish ponds. A good depth for a decorative fish pond is 2 to 4 feet. A game fish pond should be 6 to 12 feet, or even deeper. Game fish require cooler water to thrive. Greater water depth provides cooler water. The extra space in a deeper pond encourages faster growth and larger sizes. If you are serious about producing game fish, your pond should be at least the size of a standard swimming pool, and much larger is much better. Water quality requirements are similar as for decorative fish, but water clarity is not usually so demanding. Game fish ponds can still be decorative with attractive mortar and rockwork and waterfalls. Fire ponds are ponds created primarily for the purpose of providing a local water source to fight a fire. They range in size from a swimming pool size, say maybe 20,000 gallons, to much larger, as in a small lake. Fire ponds are best equipped with something other than an electric water pump, since a fire may cause a power outage. The liquid-fueled pumps, say gasoline, will be equipped with at least a 2-inch fire hose with nozzle, and the hose needs to be of adequate length to reach the areas you are wanting to deliver water to fight that fire. So what is most unique about a fire pond is simply the type of pump and water delivery system that will be needed to deliver water from the pond to the site of the fire. The fire pond itself can be decorative. It can contain fish and even decorative water plants. The caveat is that great thought and specialty hardware is required at the water intakes at the bottom of the pond to prevent sucking in fish or clogging the intakes. I have spoken to clients in rural areas who've lost their home to a fire simply because when the fire department arrived, they had no adequate source of water with which to fight that fire within their reach. To my mind, it makes great sense for anyone in a rural area to have a fire pond nearby or a large water garden in their landscape that can double as a fire pond in case of emergencies. Swimming ponds are ponds that also serve as a swimming pool for people. Swimming ponds are more common in Europe, but are gaining in popularity in the United States, as well they should. By their proponents, swimming ponds are deemed more healthy than their sterile counterparts loaded with toxic chemicals. Most country folk are used to swimming in swimming holes or swimming in ponds and lakes. They think nothing of a little green in their water. Indeed, many suburbanites who dump chemicals into their crystal clear swimming pool at home will spend their vacation water skiing at an algae and fish-laden lake. A man-made swimming pond is created to provide enhanced clarity without the use of algacidal chemicals. In most cases, a swimming pond is designed to be decorative, a decorative feature for the landscape, while serving as a swimming pool for its owners. Decorative rocks, underwater planters for decorative water plants, and waterfalls will often be included. In addition, some additional design elements are included to promote water clarity, such as a greater water depth, extra large biological and or mechanical filtration systems, and the use of ultraviolet lights to treat the water. There are contractors who specialize in building swimming ponds. It would be wise to seek out a specialist. Fish are often included in swimming ponds. I speak from experience when I say that it is great fun to float about and swim with your pet koi. You can hardly feel closer to nature. It's hard to beat. Swimming ponds often have a dock or overhanging deck from which to dive and provide a place to sunbathe. It is a good idea to have a gentle sloping shoreline of textured concrete descending into the pond to provide a safe place to enter and exit the water. Finally, it is claimed by some that you can design a specialty water garden that will attract nymphs and fairies. They are believed to prefer ponds with crystal clear water and intricate shorelines. To increase your chances of attracting these most elusive and magical creatures, use undulating shorelines heavily planted with delicate flowers and ferns. Patches of moss provided here and there are said to be favored. Small caves around the perimeter of the pond are also popular with the wee pixie crowd. Please, I am damn short of photos of these denizens of the water garden, so send me any photo you may be lucky enough to get of your nymphs and fairies. Photos of some of the actual specialty ponds discussed here are available on the Episode 4 show notes page on the Prince of Ponds website. Do you have or have you seen an unusual pond? Write or call me about it. Let's share it with others. Well, that's it for this episode of Prince of Ponds. We have shared news and made announcements. Reported to you our terrific beginning statistics of over 13,000 downloads in our first few weeks. Your invitation to join our community of enthusiasts. The new podcast Pet Tech coming in February. The I Love My Pets music video project, our new Audible sponsor. Your invitation to our new Facebook page, Prince of Ponds. Let me know you're listening. Like the page. And my guest appearance on 2 podcast shows, What Were You Thinking? And Aquarium Mania. We have talked about specialty ponds, including hobby ponds, gamefish ponds, fire ponds, and swimming ponds, and ponds to attract nymphs and fairies. Now, where else can you get this kind of information? Next time, we're going to talk about waterfalls. Why to have them, how to build them, how to tune them, and how to prevent leaks. It will be eye-opening and fun. I want to tell you about the brand new Ornamental Water Feature Academy. For the first time, there's going to be one place where pond owners-to-be, and professionals in related fields such as landscape architects, swimming pool contractors, property managers, and pond store retailers, and many more can come to learn and share best practices in the building and maintenance of water features. The heart of the Ornamental Water Feature Academy is its website, where you can see hundreds of gorgeous, high-quality photographs of before and afters, successful features, and step-by-step how-tos. You can network with others with similar interests. on the forums and learn from the experience of experts in the resources list. The library contains articles that delve into every topic in detail. You can hear interviews with industry leaders on the podcast, Prince of Ponds, presented in the lecture hall. And maybe best of all, in the theater, a collection of 40 and growing professional videos are being developed and offered as a part of membership at the site. Now, the Academy is not open to the public yet, as it is still in production, but as my special guest of the Prince of Ponds podcast, you are invited to take a peek now. Just go to princeofponds.com, and you will be able to preview some of the articles and learn more about the Academy. While there, visit the membership application page and enter your name and email into our email notification form to get on our priority list. Doing so will entitle you to big savings should you choose to become a member when the Academy opens. In any case, we will notify you the day it opens so that you are among the first. And why not? It's free. I invite them to tune in at PetLifeRadio.com or at iTunes. And I would so much appreciate you leaving a review comment on iTunes and voting for the show. Visit us and comment on our new Facebook page, Prince of Ponds. This is a brand new show, so we could use the boost. You can reach me by email at ken@princeofponds.com. Send me suggestions and questions. I'd love to hear from you, and I may answer your questions on the show. Until next time, splash me.